Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother has went through a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
What's your, the demon?
We haven't cleared anybody.
These two individuals created a plan, conducted research. Ms. Bartholomew brought Rebecca to their home. They forced her into another vehicle and took her into the woods, where they stabbed her, forced her to lie on the ground while they cut her baby out, and ultimately caused her death and the death of the baby. They then left Rebecca in the woods. This is, frankly, evil personified, and I would ask the court to concur with these two.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you joining me tonight, Alex.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So first off, I want to say hi to all the mods and everyone in chat right now. Melanie, because she's crafty. It's good to see everybody. Adrian, Holly. I know that Roxanne will be joining soon too. So we got to get right into it because there's so much to unpack here, and there's so much to talk about when it comes to this case and how quickly it's unraveled from the moment, last Friday when we kind of started talking about this case until now. It's kind of gone full speed. I'm happy that this week has ended with us at least having people charged with this crime. So for those who are kind of new to this, so prosecutors at this point have charged the biological mother and the stepfather of Rebecca Park with murdering the pregnant 22-year-old who was found dead November 23rd. So she was reported missing in the beginning of November and then found deceased. She did not have the baby inside the womb anymore. In fact, they have indicated that they think that the baby is deceased as well, but we still don't know where the baby is. So right now, the prosecuting attorney alleged that Courtney, who is the biological mother, and Bradley, the stepfather, Bartholomew, abducted Rebecca, drove her to the woods where they tortured her before cutting out the baby while Rebecca was still conscious. So that was how everything kind of
Horrific.
The baby and her met their demise during this. So that's kind of the overview, a brief one, because we're going to get into, the details more in depth of what we know so far. And Allie, you've been doing a really good job keeping us in the loop with everything that's happened this week. I know that it's kind of, this case has shook you and me. Like, it's
Yes,
a lot of cases
sure.
obviously make us like, ugh, but for some reason, this one, I don't even have to say for some reason, the fact that she was 38 weeks pregnant, it's just
Right.
your thoughts.
I'm curious, first let me say, thank you for even telling me about the case, because it was here that I learned about it and I just became interested immediately and wanted to dive right in. And so I really appreciate you bringing it. I had not seen it anywhere, and I think that's important. It should have been everywhere. It wasn't.
Mhm.
And had been going on for a little while too. So But I do have to ask you, Amber, like having just had a baby and stuff, I bet you it really hits even closer to home for you than me. We're moms, right? But it's been a while for me, and I bet you where you've
Mhm.
just went through all of that, like, oh,
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that because, like, I feel like as time goes on, you sort of forget the little things about being 38 weeks pregnant, and when you're at that point, you're ready to meet your baby. Like, you're just kinda over it once the 3rd trimester is there anyways, but this is, like, the end of the 3rd trimester, like, you guys know,
oh,
your back is aching, but mostly, like, you're getting the nursery ready. You're taking the tags off of the clothing and washing it and folding it and getting all the diapers prepped and then your little diaper stations. And if you're going to breastfeed, like all this stuff is lined up, what formula you're going to. So I have no doubt that this being
yeah.
the 3rd one too, like she had it all figured out of like, she's going to take that baby home any day.
Yeah. It seemed like the first two, she might have been pretty young with, and it seemed like this one she was really excited about and was going to try to take more of the responsibility because her foster mom has had the others, since early on. But it seemed like, according to what people are saying, she was very excited, and it's just so sad. You're wondering, what are they going to look like? Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh,
And at that point, she's had a couple sonograms where nowadays, like the sonograms are so
yeah,
detailed, like the 3D
crazy.
ones, like, you can see
Yes.
the facial structures, like you can compare it to the previous children of yours and their sonograms. And it's like, that she had already done all that at
Oh,
that
yeah.
point. And that's really where you're starting to be like, yes, I'm at the finish. It's just all of it's disgusting no matter how far along. But like, I just think that her being 38 weeks pregnant is significant as far as like the whole premeditation of all this, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause
It's really
if they
sad.
were gonna hurt her, why did they wait to 38 weeks? You know what I mean?
Well, we have that friend that said that she thought she was going into labor. So
Mhm.
I wonder if that was what kind of brought it on, but I don't know. I have the same question.
There's a lot of questions, even though it does seem like, oh, well, that we've got an arrest, so this seems pretty, open shut. It still is just kind of like, no, like why with the baby being involved, it really
Yeah.
it's not just something that happened between like a domestic situation. You know what I mean? It's like this is deeper because the IVF treatments that Courtney had
Yes.
been talking about. So I want to start with the newest, hey Sherlock and everyone else who's joined latest Ashley Banfield on this, like her own little podcast, not News Nation. And
Yeah.
then we'll get into the Courtney is the biological mother. So I loved how you nicknamed her the egg donor because that is truly the name she deserves, like all the time,
Yes.
because it's just not natural. The whole situation, of course, murder isn't natural anyways, but this the who could even that's where this whole thing ties in like with substance abuse, like who in the right mind is going to do that? Like to somebody else's abdomen, like with the baby. You know what I mean?
I know. But although it has happened before and it happens, right? But it's also like, what in the world? And you know how they say the research part in the clip you played at the very beginning, like that, it makes me wonder, is that what they were researching, like how to do this? Because I've seen in other cases where they researched, okay, where do I cut? Like how deep? Like, those kinds of
Yeah.
things. So,
Yeah, that definitely plays into the whole motive of it all. Because some people think that she just wanted to harm them both, and other people are speculating that she wanted that baby as hers.
yeah, I, I think she did, but I don't know. It's just like a guess.
Right, I know. So far, the research definitely kind of plays into they wanted it as their own and would take it,
Yeah.
but who the heck knows? And it is so demented and so sick. I agree. Let's see what Ashley had to say. This is 13 minutes long. I've sped it up a little bit, but not too much. And then, like I said, we've got the a new article I want to read through that came out today from like a local Michigan media source, and then just some talk about the biological mother's TikTok interviews that she's been doing that have been all over, and you've gone through them thoroughly. And I've been listening and, taking mental notes and all that. So we'll go through the notes and that discussion because she is the one. Actually, you know what? Before we even get there, I think I sent this to you. It says Courtney thought she could get home jail
Yes.
time, like was hoping like an ankle bracelet or something.
Yeah.
And it says Courtney appears in court. This was 3 days ago to get her bond reduced. Of course, it was denied. But yeah, so listen to her. This to me sounds like she's hoping to strike a deal of some sort.
Yes, agree.
I am
Sorry, the audio might be a little loud, guys. Just you brace your ears. I've turned it down a little bit. Hang on.
I am willing to work with the prosecutor. Also,
So I'm not going to get into
and
that.
also, I am willing to work with the prosecutor. Also,
So I'm not going to get into
and
that.
also to have my jail sentence from this jail to my home where I would be monitored.
That is something I have no control over. I am not most likely than not, I will not be your sentencing judge.
I just need to be able to take care of him. I'm the only one that has custody of him.
Ms. Bartholomew, I understand, but the fact is I've found that you are a threat and a flight risk, and I am not going to, at this point, I'm not authorizing a bond. Thank you, jail.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Amber.
Just completely dumbfounded. Like, what did you think?
Like, I bet you would like to go home on an ankle monitor, but no.
And mentioning the son that she has to take care of. Like,
oh my God.
Don't you think you, and don't even tell me you take care of him because you're doing drugs most of the time.
Yep. Agree.
And actually there was, I think that a lot of her wanting to go home obviously had to do with that and not,
it's very likely. Yeah. That's that's how it is sometimes, unfortunately. And I'm sorry. Okay. I didn't play this on my channel, but on her Facebook, I almost did. And then somebody had said, you should transcribe it. And I haven't done that yet. I will do it. It's very short. We could easily do it. It's like 30 seconds or something, but she has her little boy on there giving her alibi. Here's my alibi from the night my daughter went missing. And then a clip of him, and it's all black. You can't see him, but it's his voice. And he basically just says, I was sick and I saw her that night when she gave me medicine, my words, but this is basically it. And I saw her, the next morning when I got up, she was here the whole time kind of thing. But yeah, put him right in the middle of it.
Oh my gosh. Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what this new Ashley Banfield episode had to say. This came out today as well.
I'm excited to hear this.
Yay.
This episode is tragic. A pregnant woman vanishes, and weeks later, when she's found murdered in a remote Michigan forest, she's no longer pregnant. But her unborn baby is missing. And the people now accused of carrying out this horror, her own biological mother and her stepfather. What's worse, Rebecca had been stabbed to death and her baby had been cut from her body. This time of year, when you see groups of people holding candles outside, they're usually Christmas carolers or it's a Christmas celebration of some kind, but not this weekend, not in a small town in Michigan. That's when Rebecca Park's candlelight vigil is scheduled. Rebecca's fiance is now free to attend that vigil if he so chooses. And I say that because both he and Rebecca's sister, Kimberly, are out of jail after a judge drastically reduced their bail to $5,000. They had both been arrested the day after Rebecca was found. The sister for allegedly lying to the police and evidence tampering, and the fiance for allegedly delivering meth. But Notice, no murder charges. Very interesting. Kimberly, the sister, will not be attending Rebecca's service because she's confined to her house with an ankle bracelet. And I think it's safe to say Rebecca's biological mother and stepfather, they're not going to be at that vigil either. Because Courtney and Bradley Bartholomew, that's their names, they have all.
Yes, her own mother. Because we said earlier, these crimes have happened. We've seen it about pregnant moms who meet up for like Facebook marketplace meetups for like baby clothes, and they get lured away, and it's actually they're there to take the baby. But this makes it a little bit more unique because it is her own biological mother. So she was given up for foster care very young, believe it was like a year old. And then over the years, her foster mother adopted her and basically has come out saying that she had always advised Rebecca to stay away from her biological mother and her real family, I guess you could say, biological family. She was like told, please, don't contact. I don't think you should. Just kind of like cautiously was like, don't do it. But then by the time Rebecca turns 18, she's old enough to make the decision that she does want to reach out. And now that she's reached out, it's only been a couple years. So 18, and now she passed at 22. So for this to have escalated to what it was in that short of time, like, I guess it makes sense in a way if you can try to like wrap your head around this, because it's like she never had any type of bond with her. It's just so unnatural to begin with, but it's just like, wow, the ruthlessness of this biological mother. Like I'm so having a hard time wrapping my head around it.
It's super predatory because think about it. Think about I know people who don't know their biological parents and then they find out who they are or they have this yearning to know more about them. It's like taking advantage of that, and that makes it even worse, in my opinion. That's what I think anyways. It's just the timeline. You know what I mean? Only makes it.
Which kind of like, I was kind of thinking that whole talk. So in one of the TikTok interviews, it's mentioned, or they had brought up a check that was given to Rebecca, an inheritance check that was around $2,000. And I kind of was wondering, like, okay, who's going to kill for $2,000? But then once we found out these people and their substance abuse issues, like, I guess you couldn't discount that from being possible. But I do think that the timing of her being 38 weeks pregnant and that inheritance check, like, I just feel like it was like a bonus for them or something. Like, if she had cashed it, but I guess we never found that out. Or no, it was given in cash, right?
It was given in cash to her, allegedly. But there's some more, it's at times the conversation made it seem like there may have been even more money, but it's not clear. And because unfortunately, TikTok lives are, uploaded or not uploaded unless somebody chooses to, like they don't save. If somebody puts it on the YouTubes or whatever, or re-uploads it, then yeah, but there's a lot that's missing. I don't know. It's just like at times there sounded like there maybe was more money.
I wouldn't be surprised.
If anybody knows what I'm talking about, please let us know, because I don't even remember what they said that made it seem like that, but I remember it was like alluded to.
And she definitely did blame the sister immediately. And she also pointed the blame at Richard, the fiance, who she used to be involved with intimately.
Yeah. Oh, and, after Kimberly, goes on TikTok live and kind of says, Courtney said if I said anything, me and my daughter would go down for this or whatever. Then she comes on and she's even more vicious towards Kimberly, her other daughter. I mean, it's just, she's just pure evil.
And we talked about Letitia she's definitely up there as one of the most evil women we've ever studied in true crime. Letitia Stout from Gannon Stout's case out of Colorado, which you've done so much deep dives into. you know, it's one of those cases that was like, oh, I sometimes you just it's just so dark, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always thought that you had such good coverage on it that I was like, I'll just watch her. Like sometimes I just like being a
Oh,
viewer.
thank you. Well, you researched it too and did the deep dives too because you were always,
Mhm.
there watching and joining the conversation. So,
Yep, and
yeah.
I just came to the conclusion of like she's just a sadistic, sick, evil woman, like just evil behind her eyes. But she was a stepmother to her victim. This
Yeah.
being her biological mother, it's just brought out a totally different side of evil that like we just didn't know existed. Like when it comes to, they didn't even I mean the cutting the baby out. I mean, I just it makes me so cringe because both my babies were C-sections and like my scar is
Yeah.
still like sometimes it's like it's hard to explain, not sensitive to touch, but it's scar tissue. You guys know what scar
Yeah.
tissue feels like no matter where it is. And like just I can't even imagine like her final thoughts are something that's kind of been going through my mind like all week. Like what was she thinking like when she was being lured out there? Like did she know like was she walking out there like at knife point with them or had that drug that they where does that drug come into play like in terms of confirmation from law enforcement? The
Which
one
drug?
that like sedates you or whatever?
That is Stephen Stearns. Maybe I was confusing telling you that in text, but he's the one that had a hold of that drug right before. I probably confused when I
Okay.
was messaging you about it. Yeah, that was
That
him.
totally different, that's
I'm
interesting
sorry.
though for no, you're fine, that's my fault, but that
Well, me too, because I
okay, then
probably
that
was
makes
not
this whole
clear.
thing even worse. Because here I got it confused when we were talking cases, but now, like, if Rebecca was just like I mean, I know that they've said that she was alive, it's just so hard to kind of, like what
I
was
know.
going through her head when this was happening to her,
Oh
like,
my
it's
God.
so that's just all I kinda keep saying. So let me play this a little further, but that's just something that plays over in my head,
Terrifying. Yeah. Okay.
like, is this really how my mom is gonna do me right now? Like, really?
Right. And oh, Amber, before you press play, just because
Mhm.
it's like it would fit here in conversation, I had said on my channel, and like, I know you know what I mean. There is something so sacred about the fact that our bodies can even sustain life like that, have the child.
Mhm.
Like, not only can we do that, but then we can keep it alive after with our own bodies alone, right? And it's just, and for a long time, actually.
Mhm.
You get longer than we do, I think, a lot of times. And it's just crazy to think that this woman had Rebecca in her womb, right? This was someone who lived inside of her. She heard her heartbeat before anybody else, right? You go to the doctor, you hear the heartbeat. Like I bought one of the machines the
Mhm,
second
me too.
time. Yeah. And like that's just it's such a sacred thing, and that you carried this woman or this young woman in your womb, and then you literally try to steal the baby out of hers. It's that makes it even more like, I don't know, it just makes
And
it even
how did
worse.
both of these people get on board like, the stepfather like, how were 2 people that evil to be like, "Okay, I'll do this." So are we just assuming they were methed up at the time?
I don't know, actually, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe. I guess that's a fair assumption too, but I hadn't really thought about that. Like, how do you get Bradley on board like this to where he's like, I
Mhm.
mean, a huge part of this, pretty sure he's the one who went. Well, we see in articles or we see it mentioned that Bradley brought her to the house, but then we hear the friend say that Courtney and Kimberly picked her up. So that's kind of unclear, but regardless, he was a big part of this. But
Mhm. Yeah, that's
hey,
it's,
Jay.
like, hard to believe, but at the same time, it's like we've seen couples that do crimes together before. Hey, Jay. It's wild. That's another thing about this is that's just like, really? 2 people decided this was a good idea?
Yeah. And then Kimberly lied for him, right? At the very least, we
Mhm.
know that.
And she's the sister that the foster mother adopted as well, right?
Yep. Rebecca was 1 and Kimberly was 1 month old. And what did you say they were? Because they're not twins, like, but they're just
Yeah, they
called that.
call them Irish twins, like when they're close
Yeah.
in age like that. It's just like
Right.
some saying, but hey, Roxanne, drive safe.
Because sometimes they're the same age, like 1 month out of the year or something. So they're so close in age. They're very
That's
close.
what
And they both
also
went to
makes
foster
it
care. Same
terrible.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what makes it like, so wait, so this was literally like your sibling that you grew up with your whole life. It wasn't somebody that she met later on. You know what I mean? And the betrayal of
Yeah.
her like lying for Courtney, the biological mom, to protect her, I guess.
But I wonder if you think she took your sister's life or no, she did. So you're scared of her, right? You know what she's
Yeah.
capable of. Maybe she did threaten her and she really was terrified.
Definitely. Like in terms of a future trial, unless this ends like with plea deals or whatever, I could see hopefully the prosecution will use Kimberly to, to reveal everything and obviously throw Courtney under the bus.
Yeah.
And basically use the defense, like you were just saying, that she was afraid for her life, etc., which I believe. I could believe, I guess I would say, if I was a juror.
Oh, I didn't know that Irish twins it originated because of stereotyping. There was stereotypes about Irish Catholic families and the high birth rates. And at one point it was like a slang term regarding them. That's so interesting. I had to Google it while we were.
That is interesting, especially because I could see it also being talked about as like Italian twins, because it's almost the same exact thing. Like,
big families.
Yes.
Also been jailed, and they are being held without bond. And their charges are a hell of a lot more serious, like first-degree murder, felony murder, torture, conspiracy to commit torture, assault on a pregnant individual causing miscarriage or stillbirth, conspiracy to commit assault on a pregnant.
So just quick comment, the conspiracy part, that they must have stumbled upon like forensic evidence of them planning this thing. Like besides, or maybe they're just saying the research that they did to perform the cesarean section is the conspiracy. I'm just curious, like, was there more than just the research on the medical procedure, or, like how dumb were they as far as their planning? Like, were they texting each other things about it?
So.
Me too.
So.
Pregnant individual causing miscarriage or stillbirth, unlawful imprisonment, and removal of a dead body. Which, of course, that list would be more than reason enough to deny them any bond at all, right? But at their arraignment this past Tuesday, the judge went further and told us something else. The fact that Courtney and Bradley Bartholomew both have long and ugly rap sheets, criminal histories. They both got records dating back more than 20 years, mostly for petty crimes, but not entirely. Bradley's record starts in 1997 with what appears to be theft. So welcome to the criminal world, Bradley. Congratulations. The paperwork called it receiving and concealing $100 or less. And there's a similar count in 2002. In 2001, he was charged with forgery. Then there's the driving with a suspended license charge, which, by the way, seems to become a hobby of his because he's been busted for that crime 10 times. In 2011, things got more serious for Bradley. He was convicted of criminal sexual conduct in the third degree. And in 2014, 2017, and 2024, he failed to comply with the sex offender registration requirements that no doubt came from that sex crime. Courtney, his lovely wife, first ran afoul of the law back in 2003 over an unlicensed dog. Okay, not a violent crime, but at least it was a beginning for Courtney. The next year, she was caught with an unlawful license. plate. Like her husband, She's got several arrests for driving with a suspended license, but there's also a charge in 2005 for something called financial transaction device fraud. And in 2018, another for false or forged IDs. So clearly, she was progressing. In 2020, Courtney was convicted on 2 counts of lying to a peace officer. And in 2023, she falsely reported a misdemeanor. True crime podcaster Stephanie Pratt has interviewed Courtney Bartholomew more than once, but now she's got even more to say. Stephanie asked the jailed victim's mom straight out, was your husband, Bradley Bartholomew, in the house with you, along with Rebecca, the victim, on the night Rebecca died? And here's how Courtney Bartholomew answered.
Was Brad home at the time?
No.
Earlier on my News Nation show, I talked to Stephanie Pratt. She has the podcast called Steph's Case Files. Here's our conversation. Stephanie, you've been doing really good work on this case. I think you're leading in the reporting. Tell me a little bit more about your
leading in the reporting. I don't know, I've
Yeah.
never heard that before. But I thought, she did ask her some questions that I thought were like kind of pressing. And then at the end of one of them, she was like, I am kind of suspicious. I'm not going to lie about you or whatever. And then Courtney was like, I got to go make my son food, like quickly, like wanted to get off the live stream. But I think that you've done even better reporting.
Thank you. Well, she had him on her show, but like some of it has been so hard to listen to because we had to hear how many likes. It's 40,000 souls in this room so many times. Like TikTok's a different place though. So they have to repeat stuff because you can't rewind. But she's definitely had a lot of interviews, and that bounty hunter guy, which, he's out there searching. These TikTokers are basically taking the crime into their own hands. They've said multiple times, this investigation needs to end. More people need to be found, and just different things that are just weird. But that guy does have an interesting story to tell. And she was up there when he was saying it. So I believe it's true. But he says that he went up there to help search, and he was able to search the whole property but one vehicle. And that vehicle had the fabric cut off of the seat. And the vehicle's now been towed. So if that was, if there was anything in it, I thought that was pretty interesting from his investigation. But yeah, they're taking it into their own hands for sure.
I think we should, like, when we stream because I was going to say this in a message to you anyways, but when we stream on YouTube, like, we should just have our phone set up where it's like streaming on the same stream on TikTok.
Maxie used to do that.
Because I
with the
it's like,
phone.
I shared, I never go on my TikTok, but I need to start using it. But I shared that we were going to be live on here and made like a little like post about it. And the engagement over there is like so much more. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. Yeah. But I think that, like, if we're going to stream on YouTube, we should be streaming on TikTok too, because, it's better reach. And it's kind of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, that's true. And it seems like the TikTok, they struggle sometimes with keeping the facts, as what, and that would be really good to like bring that,
Yeah, because that's why I thought of it when you were just talking about how like the TikTokers are taking this into their own hands, like investigative wise, etc. Like,
yeah,
the thing is, there's so much fake stuff on there too, which is a problem that like people like you and I who will keep it factual, and like that's what we do on YouTube, which YouTube true crime has turned into like, well, we want facts, but we actually want drama more. So it's kind of like, well, I guess then TikTok is people are on true crime TikTok right now because I don't know. It just seems like we should just be doing that.
Let's try it. I say we do it. And this would be the perfect case to try to do that, to start to do that with, because it seems like it's crazy. Because again, you talked about it. I hadn't seen anyone else, but apparently people had been talking about this like crazy on Facebook and TikTok. And so many locals showed up at court. People were standing against the walls and stuff. I mean,
really? Wow. Yeah. I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah.
At first.
Makes sense.
And hi, Rosie, and everyone else who have joined.
Conversations with Rebecca's mother.
Well, as you saw in that clip, the actual time span that it took her to answer me on whether he was there or not was 12 seconds. And that was a very long and silent 12 seconds. And to me, it was a simple yes or no answer. Was he there or wasn't he there? So in those 12 seconds, a lot of things I feel went through Courtney's mind. She's asked me this direct question. How do I answer this? Do I answer it in a way that puts him here in a safe time, maybe when her son was awake? Or do I just flat out lie and say no? And as you heard, she decided to say no.
I'm curious if your spidey senses tell you whether these folks are clever like a fox, or complete morons. And in my line of work, I come across more morons than foxes. I just don't know if she was doing the mental gymnastics or if she just started to realize, I think I might be painting myself into a corner.
Well,
from what I heard when we went through all the live streams and her discussion, I think that she just got, well, for one, you pointed out, which I thought was like, wow. I mean, it makes sense. But we heard possible drug use in the background while they were asking the questions.
Yeah.
Like crushing
and
up, patting on the table.
Yeah, and the freaking what do you call it? Closed captioning picked up. Remember, it was like snort. It picked up a snort, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, I was modding, but I was like, I know I wasn't in front of the screen. So when you said that, I was like listening, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I hear it," but I didn't realize that the closed captioning like picked it up and said it.
Yeah, that's how I noticed it. I saw the snort, and I thought that's so weird. It doesn't say like sniffle or whatever. You know what I mean? How you would usually,
Yes.
if you're talking and maybe you have a sniffle. But yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think that Courtney got just screwed up on so many levels and just couldn't keep her lies straight. And like the mental gymnastics basically was too much by the end of it all.
Yeah. But I like the question because I think she is a moron. And I think she's also a bit of a fox, but I think like just the fact she was on there talking so much and like, I don't know, I can't keep your story straight. Like to me, yeah, you're an idiot.
Yeah, I think law enforcement was watching and they were loving it.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to share in the chat my TikTok if you guys are on there. I know some people are very anti-TikTok, but some people have both. So join me on there as well. And if you want to post yours too, Allie, go for it.
Okay. Hey, Roxanne. Thank you, Amber. Okay.
To be nice about it, Ashley, I have said several times it's almost like an episode of Dumb Criminals because there are textbook 101 mistakes in this, from leaving a digital footprint of research beforehand to straight out lying to not just me, but several content creators about where and who was with her that night, times. And so there was shadiness going on from moment one with Courtney, and wading through all of her statements was challenging. But once we put it together in our head, it was simple. She was leading us, thinking she was leading us in a different direction. In fact, she sent someone a message from her Facebook stating that she was trying to do reverse psychology on us. That's her quote. And I couldn't believe what I was reading, because we are sitting here thinking there's no way that you're going to convince us that you didn't have some sort of part of this. We caught on really early.
That's so interesting that she literally thought that she was fooling everybody.
Yeah,
And
whenever nobody was fooled, I think they all like they were skeptical. You could see it on their faces the whole time.
so
Sorry,
sad.
didn't mean to cut you off. And
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say, just the tale as old as time is they think that they're smarter than everyone and they can manipulate everyone and run their narrative and story, and everyone's just gonna eat it up. I also wonder if there is a level of them feeling kind of like, oh wow, we're getting away with this, because it took a few weeks for them to even find Rebecca. And I hate to
yeah.
say it, but we still don't know where the baby is.
Well, it's interesting. She said, I have two parts. The first part, it's interesting. She said the other TikTokers part, because I know there's lives and I wonder how many. And we're like, I just am curious because I know people were on her panel, but I believe there were other live streams held as well. And, shoot, the other part I was going to say, I forgot. I knew I should have started with that one. That's okay. If it comes to me, I'll tell you. It was something about what we were saying, but
Did it have anything to do with them taking like 3 weeks to find her and then like the baby
oh
still hasn't
yes,
been found?
yes, it did. That's what actually I was going to respond to where you said that. So we're listening to these lives, right? We have actually Rich goes on with her first with Steph here. Then Courtney's on a couple days in a row. Then Kimberly comes on and she does that interview that we just listened to where she's like saying that she threatened her and that stuff. Well, then Courtney goes back on. Courtney starts telling her people that Kimberly keeps talking about the trails. Courtney even plans, and we have video footage of her at the end of her driveway talking about tomorrow, meet me here and we'll go search together. And then, if I'm not mistaken, it was the next day she was found on the trails. She was trying to set Kimberly up, in my opinion. This her reverse psychology. She really thinks she's like just manipulator and liar of the year. She does. She thinks she's so good at it because I think that she didn't think people would catch on to what she was doing. She was saying, Kimberly keeps talking about those trails. I don't know. We have to go search on those trails, even though they say they got a bus ticket. We have to, because why else would she keep talking about the trails? And then she's
Mhm.
found there, and it's a spot that's already been searched. That they, it appears she was moved there right
Mhm.
before. So
Mhm. Yep. So there's actually that, so if that's where she was placed, then there's like two crime scenes where she was found, and then where
where
exactly
was
was it
she?
that all this happened?
Yeah. And where was she during the time like while that was searched and she wasn't there?
I'm afraid where the baby is too, because what was that talk that they were saying about how they had to like, there was something
The
about
se- the
septic.
septic tank. Yeah, they were searching the septic tank. People saw police searching the septic tank, and
Well, obviously
yeah,
baby wasn't found there.
right.
So, but yeah, I mean, at this point, I mean, ugh, I don't know.
But could he have been? Because I was thinking about that. Like, would they tell us immediately?
Right. I mean,
Would
they
they?
don't,
Because I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, she's been charged with crimes related to the baby, and they've already come out stating the baby is deceased. They know, it seems like factually, like probably based off of what the scene looked like or something. Or I don't know. I guess I couldn't even say what they're
I
basing
wondered
it
if
off
it
of.
was like DNA they found, too much blood. That would be too much, like with a different DNA than Rebecca. But also, what if they found him? Because I don't know that we would know immediately because there's no like Amber Alert, missing baby,
Mhm.
to take down.
Yeah, that it's definitely questionable. And would they use that as like, or maybe I don't know. So much going on in my head about it.
I know, same.
Because I was just thinking, like, would one person like tell, like, it say Courtney tells law enforcement like where the baby is, or hopes to like strike some sort of deal or something like that against this. But it's like, what then?
Right.
What? I don't know. I'm just
I
wondering,
mean,
could it be used as leverage in some way by not telling the public or something? I don't know.
I don't know. It's possible, certainly. There could there could be a way to do that. It's just another piece of like not that it he is a human baby and he matters, his life mattered. But if you think about it in the investigation, it could be like, think of if there was some other kind of very important evidence or something that was found that they could use against them to make them think the other one was talking and think, you know what I mean? Or something like that.
Yes. I know exactly what you mean, but I don't know how it would be used as a tool, but I'm wondering. I
Right.
hope they find the baby just so that we can lay it to rest. It
Yeah.
was a boy.
Yeah.
To what she was trying to tell us, and even reading between the lines.
Well, Courtney seems to like to play dum-dum jujitsu, and it doesn't work well with someone like you because you have also gone down the rabbit hole of the back charges, the long litany of rap sheet offenses that this couple has been convicted of. Let's go to Bradley's because the history of sex offenses are very disturbing, and the number of times that he just disregards all the things you have to do after you serve time. Sex offender registration, serious business. And you were able to get a hold of his 2011 sex crime victim and talk to her. What did she tell you? What kind of enlightenment did you get about the man who's being held for the first-degree murder of his stepdaughter?
Well, Ashley, this was during the time that Rebecca was still missing. And I'd gotten a message from someone saying, of course, I want to remain anonymous, but I have to talk to you about that. I am the victim from 2011. And I have to tell you what happened to me. And she goes into detail about where this assault took place. We know it's not alleged at this time because it is a conviction, the very conviction that he's having trouble keeping up with as far as registration is concerned. She said that he took her down that very 2-track, the one straight down from Courtney's house that the phone was found on. So this puts history with Brad assaulting women down that same 2-track. She told me this happened in 2011 and she has never recovered from it. In fact, now she has a 14-year-old daughter of her own. And Brad, in recent times, has tried to contact her own daughter and establish a relationship with her.
Wow. That's awful. That's so disturbing.
Is it his daughter too? Because that's like 2011, that was 14 years ago.
I don't know. I was just wondering that, but I'm like, she didn't like really specify if it was his, but I'm wondering if, yeah, that's just so weird. I don't know.
Well, that has got to be a massive sex offender registry offense as well, contacting the offspring of your victim. I hope that they reported that.
So I'm thinking it's not his child because I feel like Ashley would have said like his biological kid or whatever.
Yeah, I guess it's just coincidence that it's the same amount of time, but why would he want to start a relationship with her? Wow.
And he like failed to register like how they're supposed to all the time. Like, dude.
Yeah.
To his parole officer. Let's flip over now to Courtney Bartholomew and her long rap sheet. Too much to get into. I listed it off. Those were the greatest hits. But the interesting part is that there were court documents showing Courtney had lost custody of her older children. What was the reason that she was no longer allowed to see her own kids?
She has a 25-year-old son, and there was a part of court documents that talked about her not understanding the dangers of having a sex offender around her children. And I believe that there was several situations where she did have children around sexual offenders. This time didn't seem any different. She married one. In fact, he is not allowed to live at her home. She told me he was living in a tent 7 miles from her home because he's not allowed to be there. He's not allowed to be around minors. Her 14-year-old son is a minor, and he is caught on tape during the time that the protests were in front of the home of him being around that minor, which is another violation of this 2011 order.
So, Stephanie, just to be clear, I mean, we keep showing this picture of Bradley Bartholomew, but I'm having trouble following the bouncing ball with these criminals. Was Courtney with another sex offender, and that was the genesis of the problems that she faced when she lost her kids? It wasn't even this one, this Bradley Bartholomew sex offender. It was another sex offender she was with?
That's right. It wasn't Bradley. It was someone else. And when Rebecca was born, I want to note this. Rebecca was about a year old. Her and Kimberly are very close in age. And one of the reasons why she lost those girls was because she tried to drive off a bridge with them in the car. But prior to that, there was a court documentation note that they were having trouble explaining to her or having her understand the consequences of having her children around sexual offenders.
I can't believe it. Every time you answer a question, you add something more that shocks me. The fact that she tried to drive off a bridge with the daughter she eventually would be accused of murdering and butchering to remove a baby. I feel like, Stephanie, you and I aren't finished talking. I think we're going to be discussing this case a lot more. Thank you so much for doing this on a Friday night. I look forward to our next conversation.
But how does she know that? I wonder if that's true and where she got that information about the bridge and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I feel like, I don't know. No one's highlighted that. Like, there must be some sort of paper trail of it. Like, but wouldn't it be like CPS type stuff?
Yeah, which you wouldn't think that anybody could get.
Interesting. I am curious on the source of that.
Also, oh gosh, it was another thing I was curious about. Just really quickly, we had heard from the beginning in many different reports that Rich had some sort of relationship with Courtney that they used to date. I want to see that verified. Like, where does that information come from? Because, Courtney's in jail now, so we can't have anybody just ask her flat out. But you know what I mean? Because I have not seen that either.
So Courtney never came out stating that? I thought I might have been in and out of the live stream when you went over
Not
it.
that I've heard. Now, like I said, there's a lot that's happened and a lot of live streams that we obviously haven't seen, but so I don't know.
Yeah, maybe somebody in chat or a replay viewer can kind of send us in the direction of like that being backed up, but it is weird as hell. It's something that we've all kind of been repeating, but I'd like to know, like, did that come from Kimberly maybe?
Right.
Or did it come from Rich somewhere? No, he never stated it.
Well, before I went live the very first time, I looked at like several different videos and different places, and I kept seeing it repeated. So I was like, okay, must be true, but maybe it's not. Maybe there's a lot of shit that gets said that's not true. So I don't know, but I lean towards it is, and it came from somewhere. But then again, I don't trust anything unless we hear it from like officially. So I don't know.
And what I do know, I don't know a lot about meth and like the tweaker lifestyle, but from the cases that we follow, it seems like they always are intertwining with partners because it's like part of the scene.
Oh, yes. It is a very sexual drug.
Yeah, so
People
I
will
kind
do
of
that
didn't question it because I was like, I bet you that was some sort of that escapade.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that I'd like to know the source of that too. So maybe we can iron that out eventually.
Yeah.
So this was the local article that came out. It's called Michigan Live. It came out today around the afternoon. So I figured I would just kind of close with this article. Oh, wait a minute. It's like one of those articles that like don't show on your desktop, but it showed on my phone.
Oh, I hate that.
Why do they do that?
It's the money racket. And it happens to me like this all the time. I'll be on my phone and then I think I paid for this thing, so I could probably go in and screenshot it, or you could pull up your phone maybe. Just open it. Don't reopen it because it won't open again.
Tell me they blurred it in the time that I looked at it last, because I was like reading this article. and now they want you to pay on
Yeah,
the
send me
phone
the link.
too.
Send me the link. I'll see, because I paid for one the other night. It was only $1, and so I could get access to their thing. And I think it's this.
I don't have $1. No, I'm just kidding. Oh wait, I just sent it to myself. Dirt. Wow. No, guys, I was literally reading this earlier because it's happened to me on other cases too. And you know what's so funny is I said to myself, I should screen record these
Yes, screenshots from now
or
on.
screenshots these. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. Okay, no, this is not the one. I guess I did. Let me just try to log in maybe and make
Hold on.
sure, 'cause it's blurred for me as well.
$5.
Yeah, so this isn't the one that I did because it was $1.
Yeah, this one's saying you could do a day pass for $5. Like, no.
Yeah,
Ugh.
that's ridiculous.
Well, that ain't gonna happen. But anyways, it's just like an overview. It did have like pictures of like her trailer. Like you can see it's kind of wow. Well, you know what we'll do? We will just go through Courtney's statements that she made in her TikTok interviews. So Courtney is the biological mother, the egg donor. And then we'll go through the notes for that and then call it an evening because right now that this is the update. You know, the mother was charged with everything that was like listed on that Ashley Banfield segment that we watched and the stepfather. The sister Kimberly is out on house arrest right now and she was charged. One of her charges were lying to police. So it's going to be interesting to see who flips on who is the first to kind of in hopes to strike a deal, etc. Let me just share a visual. Even though I hate looking at her face, we do have Rebecca in the photo too. And like you can see like the resemblance to a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just so twisted. It really is.
It is. But I think, okay, even though the article, whatever, because that segment was actually pretty good. There was quite a lot we learned we didn't know. We didn't have that detailed of a history on either one of them. We didn't know that about the text message of, reverse psychology. We didn't know the drive off the cliff. We didn't know about his victim. So right there is several things like that we didn't know before. So I'm still sitting over here like, wow. Yeah, interesting. But
well, I'm glad we got those updates. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ashley Banfield.
Yeah.
As much
Thank
as
you, Amber
sometimes we
and
make
Ashley
fun of
Banfield.
her. Sometimes she is a little cringe at times.
Yes.
But
Agree.
like when she said to her that she was running, what did she say? You're at the top of this story right now, or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, like you've gone through all week long, there were interviews with Courtney, the biological mother, and in that Steph TikToker, YouTuber that was just on Ashley Banfield. And a lot of the statements, we kind of all were like, wait, what? This isn't adding up to what you just said. Or, the timeline was kind of off at times. And anytime that anyone tried to clarify that, it was like, you could tell that her stories just were falling apart. And I just want to go through some of the notes. Let's see. The whole host hinting at the big C group, like they were implying the cartel. I'm like, why do I guess I don't know Michigan very well, but like I don't know, I just thought that was kind of laughable that was kind of being thrown around as like a possibility.
Yeah, the only thing, like, I guess the Great Lakes are there, but yeah, that's very weird locationally. And that makes me think if we did stream to both, I don't guess we could because, or we'd have to change how we talk about things because on TikTok, they are strict. You can't use the real words, like, or they'll take your video down. You just can't talk about this stuff because I've had several videos taken down over there that weren't even bad at all. Like, so they were just like like nothing graphic, no horrible words said. So, but yeah. So the big C.
So these notes are specifically about the money, the reward, and the IVF questions. So Courtney herself was talking about how she was going through IVF treatment or egg health treatment or something.
Yeah.
There's mention of an eight. See, this says that there's mention of an $18,000 check, and apparently
Yes, that's
16,000 remained in an account.
I was thinking about the number. I thought 18,000 when I said that, like talk about it was alluded to other money, but I didn't want to say without being certain. So, yeah, that
Yes,
makes
that's
sense.
because this is like a summary of the transcript. So it's straight
Okay,
from the
yeah.
interview.
Yeah, I remember that number.
So the host
So,
asked if she'd use the money as a reward for Rebecca's return. Courtney said no. She wants that money saved for
for the babies.
Rebecca if she
Yes.
comes back for housing and baby needs. Like, well, yeah, but a reward is to help her come back.
Yes. I forgot about that. Well, she's going to need things. When the kids are going to need things.
She didn't want to hand over that money or didn't want somebody to get access to it. Like that wasn't her.
And probably never gave her $2,000. You know what I mean? Well, remember the
Mhm.
voicemail of also Courtney or Rebecca was skeptical of her as well.
Yeah, and she didn't even seem to care about the money at all. Like it wasn't like she was in that voicemail saying like I really need that for the baby, which I
Yeah.
was kind of surprised at. Like she was just kind of like it's whatever.
Yeah.
Viewers challenge how she can't afford SD cards but is having IVF treatments. Courtney says she spends about $35 a month on fertility pills and insists it's not taken away from her children. So spending that on IVF, doesn't hurt
What?
the kids.
Oh God.
She says she wants another baby, partly because her 14-year-old son wants a sibling and her husband wants a child with her. So that kind of makes it interesting too, like with him being involved in this crime.
Yeah. I remember the um about her kid, but I don't remember that about him, or maybe I didn't think of it like I would now after what we just listened to on Ashley Banfield, with the reaching out
And
to the kid.
rumor online is she planned to steal Rebecca's baby and run to Texas, supported by IVF treatment theory, a move to Texas being planned, a fake Facebook post about a newborn in the NICU, supposedly from her, that Courtney calls that the lowest thing I've ever heard and denies it completely. So the host like pretty much said like this is what we're hearing as rumors, and Courtney in the interview of course like denied it all.
Yeah. This
Um,
summaries are so cool. Keep going. I love this.
okay. So home cameras and personal rumors. So this is specified as a rumor. Courtney is living in a home she's not supposed to be in. She says, so when it says rumor, basically we kind of have to say, do we believe what Courtney's saying is true or false anyways? You know what I mean? So she
Right.
says that that's false and it's nobody's business. She clarifies the cameras, they face the road.
Yeah.
And then she shows a live view only and don't record because she has no SD cards. She denies having a hysterectomy, says that she can still have children. So Rebecca Rich and allegations, it says, and abuse allegations. Courtney describes Rich, Rebecca's partner and the baby's father, as a lazy drug addict, not helping with cleaning, allegedly abusive. She says Rebecca's sister has seen him physically abusing her and intervened. Courtney says Rebecca has previously stayed in hiding with others to escape abusive relationships. Rich is running around with other women and doesn't seem to be waiting for Rebecca to come back. So this is all what Courtney said. This is Courtney's version of the timeline. So this doesn't necessarily speak to the truth, obviously, everyone. So Courtney is the one who's behind bars right now. So her timeline was getting like holes punched through it the whole time she was live streaming on that TikTok. She claims on November 3rd in the evening, Courtney goes to Rich's house around 6:30 to 7 to pick up Rebecca. The purpose was to bring her to Courtney's house to give her Tide Pods, laundry detergent, and $2,000 cash. She insists that Tide Pod literally means detergent and not drug slang. Rebecca comes to Courtney's. They plan to get some ice cream, but don't. At Courtney's house, Courtney briefly goes inside to get the Tide Pods. When she returns, Rebecca says she's coming to get her. Someone is coming to get her. A black car pulls up across from Courtney's house, described as a black Chevy Impala with round tail lights. Now, I heard her say like SUV, blacked out SUV. So I don't know. Maybe she said both. Courtney sees it in her mirrors and headlights. Rebecca gets in the front passenger seat and says, "Mom, I'll be back." Courtney doesn't ask who it is. Says if she'd ask, Rebecca would accuse her of being all up in her business and get mad. The car drives off. Courtney goes back inside, expecting Rebecca to return. But Rebecca doesn't come back. Courtney says she doesn't call Rebecca's house because the relationship is rocky. She's afraid Rebecca will be angry and accuse her of being nosy. Around 11 p.m., Courtney starts calling Rich repeatedly and texts him that his old lady took off with some dude in a black car. So that's kind of how apparently it all gets broke to Rich about what's going on, according to Courtney. Now, were those by 11 p.m., should we assume that Rebecca was already dead? Because if she's sending that, like, oh, Courtney took off with the guy, like, it's like she's already putting the plan in motion of, like, people being like, wait, what? She's missing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Hadn't thought about that. So either she was or that which they had planned it, but they already knew they were going through with it. You know what I mean? This was, okay, plans in motion. But, I mean, I would think they'd probably, I don't know. That's a good point, though, and a good question.
So it says the phone, GPS, and deletion drama. The next morning, so that was texted to Rich from Courtney at 11 p.m. The next morning on Tuesday, Rich texts back around 9:55 a.m. and says he'll call in a minute. He doesn't want to lose her and the baby, which the host finds oddly dramatic if she often goes to friends' houses. The phone ping and GPS. Either Rich or Kimberly's phone pings Rebecca's phone and sends GPS coordinates. Courtney's husband, Brad, looks at them and says, the phone is right across the road from their house. So Brad was the one that found the phone? So it says, finding the phone. Brad and Courtney go across the road on a trail. Brad finds the phone on the ground, picks it up, gives it to Courtney. Oh, nice.
Yeah, because apparently he knows GPS coordinates, and when they saw the coordinates, he knew exactly where it was.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Brad finds the phone on the ground, picks it up, gives it to Courtney. The screen is damp. She wipes it on her pants. Phone is still on, receiving notifications. She turns it off to avoid being accused of tampering. It's like, well, you just tampered it actually by turning it off. By the way.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Taking the phone to Rich. Instead of police, Courtney and Brad bring the phone to Rich because he knows the pin to unlock it. Like, so then why did you turn it off if you needed Rich to unlock it? She says Rich turns it on, walks away, then claims the screen is too dim to see anything, despite Courtney saying it was bright earlier. She leaves the phone with him so he can check who she last contacted. When did police get the phone? Here's the timeline that contradicts itself. Courtney initially says police came to her house around 12:15 p.m. Tuesday after Kimberly took the phone to the sheriff's office. Later, Kimberly joins and clarifies she actually went to Rich's around 10 p.m. Tuesday to get the phone. She then took it to the sheriff's department around 10 p.m. So by Kimberly's statement, Rich had Rebecca's phone most of Tuesday before it went to the police. So deleted. Go on.
During this interview, like Courtney says one timeline, we took it in the morning, and then 2 minutes later, Kimberly's in the background and she comes on for a second. She's like, yeah, I took it that night, like, or whatever. Like they say the exact opposite. And they're like, wait a minute, you just said like the morning. I can't remember who said what, like exactly, but yeah, exact opposite.
Live time, we were watching their stories just not add up. And it's like, we all were like, this is not, because this was unraveling on TikTok and through the live streams on YouTube that we're going through before they even stated that she'd been found. Right?
Yep.
Wow.
Because Kimberly and Rich were arrested within hours of her being found. He was arrested like in an hour, and hers was like 3 or 4, like very quick.
Wow. So calling and not calling Rebecca. Courtney admits she did not call Rebecca the night she disappeared because she didn't want to trigger a fight. So your daughter's pregnant, 38 weeks, was already having what she thought might have been labor contractions, and you don't want to, cause a fight. She only called Rich. The next morning when she tries to call Rebecca, she says her calls go straight to voicemail, leading her to believe her number was blocked. Kimberly says she could still call Rebecca's phone and it would ring. So she said something about Courtney's number was different. Blocked versus dead phone is debated, it says. So family dynamics and past. Courtney and Rebecca have a rocky relationship, Courtney says. Rebecca has come and gone from her life many times. She's tried to help, especially during pregnancy, but Rebecca often says she's always in her business. Courtney's kids, her oldest is 25. Rebecca is 22. Kimberly is 21. And then her youngest son is 14. Courtney says she voluntarily told police to search her house many times. She's barely sleeping, constantly watching live cameras, hoping Rebecca will come home. So obviously this was a facade and act that she was portraying on TikTok and all these live streams of being this like worried mom. But like we all kind of felt like there was no urgency behind her like act anyways.
Yeah, and every time she spoke of Rebecca, like she talked about her with such an attitude and such disdain, even when she's like, she had even talked like this, like, with her, like you could just hear it in her tone. And
there was resentment, and it was like, was the resentment there because she did like have a relationship with Rich prior and now Rich is having a baby with her own daughter? Or is the resentment there because her daughter's pregnant and she wants to be pregnant? And like, what is going on? You know what I mean? So many levels of what's, this onion that I think we're still going to be pulling back for a while. So Kimberly, the sister's allegations about Rich, the fiance, she expressed some of them in the interviews as well. And she claims Rich has a pattern of cheating and deleting messages. He's sent her sexually explicit messages asking to perform sexual acts on her, including after Rebecca went missing. So all of that, like if that comes out, it's just kind of goes along with what we were saying about the type of drug that they allegedly have been using. And actually he was arrested with charges related to that drug itself. So, that's noteworthy. Kimberly claims he's asked her to go to the bedroom with him. And when she went to get Rebecca's phone that night, she believes Rich often deletes evidence of affairs and inappropriate messages that may have done that on Rebecca's phone. So it seems like they're kind of she was lining up a reason why Rich might have been deleting stuff on there.
Yeah.
And it's like, right.
just like the block thing, like it didn't make sense either. Well, she had me blocked. How do you know? Oh, well, it wouldn't ring when I called or whatever. It's like, so you don't know. You're just, whatever.
I know. It's like, it just goes back to like the dumb criminal aspect. How
Yeah.
they thought they could get away with this is beyond me. And to kind of, it's almost like the social media aspect of like them going on TikTok. Like they're thinking like, if I can control the social media narrative, like I'll be able to control the police narrative. You know what I mean? So it was almost
Yeah.
like their practice run. And little do
Yeah.
they know that like law enforcement's watching too.
Yeah. They're
You're being
definitely
watched.
paying attention. Hey, look at how they both have that widow peak, that widow's peak though, in their
Mhm.
pictures. Yeah.
I know. And the nose shape, it's there.
Yeah. Even the forehead, if her eyes weren't like her eyebrows weren't raised like that, I think would be the same.
I know. I wonder if, well, I guess she does look more like her than um Kimberly. Like if we had to compare like the sisters to the mom.
Yeah, I think so too.
Let's see what else. Both Courtney and Kimberly assert that Rich had access to other vehicles, his dad's and friends. A cousin Tim was staying at Rich's house, sleeping on the by a bedroom door, might have seen or heard something. Like they're just lying out their ass about everybody and anybody in the circle that they can kind of point the finger at, basically, which was like most of what the live streams kept turning into. It's like
Yeah.
pointing the finger here and there. It's like, okay. Someone asked if Courtney would take a lie detector. Oh yeah, remember this? The polygraph. Would you take a polygraph? And she said she can't because she has a heart condition.
Yeah.
Right.
What was it? Like something like tachycardia? Because I didn't know what that meant
Mhm.
exactly.
Yep,
Yeah.
tachycardia.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just Courtney says detectives have advised the family to stay off social media interviews because it fuels drama and misinformation. She's frustrated answering the same questions and being judged, but insists her focus is finding Rebecca and the baby. So pretty much it ends with, over 3+ hours. The host thanks Courtney and Kimberly, repeats her streaming schedule. That's literally what this says because it like reviews the transcript. But yeah, so those are the updates that we have as of today. Again, there might be more things that end up coming out through people who might have known them, this and that. Yeah, so pointing the finger in all directions pretty much, and it backfired on them. And we saw earlier that Courtney was hoping that she would be let go on house arrest over this so that she could take care of her 14-year-old son. Not going to happen.
Yeah. You wish you could go home on house arrest. Sorry, when you kidnap and murder a pregnant woman and her baby, you ain't going nowhere, lady.
Right. And hopefully, we can get some answers on where the baby is, because that's something to this day we still don't know when it comes to other cases like Harmony Montgomery.
Yeah.
Adam, yes, he's sitting in prison probably the rest of his life, hopefully. And he could easily come out and say where he left Harmony's body. Like, I don't want this to be another one of those cases where Courtney and the stepfather, Brad, go away for this crime, because they will. I mean, the evidence so far is mounting so high. Like, yes, innocent until proven guilty, but I think we've seen enough here. But I don't want this to be another thing where it's like, where did the baby ever have a name, or was it just known to
Yes.
be a boy? Oh, what was that?
I saw on her, so she had a post where she named her kids, and she was naming him after Rich. I think it was Richard something Fowler. I'd have to grab it, but to know for certain the middle name, but yeah, it was after Rich.
Well, he's baby Richard, so hopefully we can find him.
Oh yeah, Richardsy.
And lay him to rest. It's so horrible. It really is. I wonder, are they going to cremate her or keep the body as because of, the trial down the road? Like, what are they going to do?
At one point, they ask her in one of these interviews, like about a funeral, and I'm just thinking, you certainly don't think she has any say over that, right? Like, shit, come on, the Courtney's not part of that. I guess whatever. The adopted mom and family, because I know in their GoFundMe for the kids, they said that she had a very big family of cousins, aunts, uncles, just like they named all of that. And they're like, that was her family. She had a loving family. Basically, Courtney is not her family.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, you're going live tomorrow on which case? I know you had a few different ones already prepped.
Yeah, this one. And then I got confused when I told you earlier because I was thinking Stefan was tomorrow, but because we already started this interview, I think this will be better tomorrow. And then Stefan on Monday and Amber, they have court on Tuesday. Kimberly and Rich, they have a probable cause hearing and a preliminary hearing, I believe. Like, I don't know why. It's interesting. It's different, but yeah. They have hearings, both of them.
We follow a lot of cases, and I feel like I can't even think of another one out of Michigan, like off the top of my head. Like, it's just so because we're talking about the different things that they do, like for court and stuff in different states. And now I'm just thinking, like, I don't even think that I can compare this to another case that we've seen a court process through because it's Michigan.
I don't
It's
think I
random.
have either. Like the trials, like I know that I've talked about cases of missing or just other things there, but not followed a trial. So you're right. Not really sure how it works. And it's different everywhere you go. So state to state.
Yeah. So it's just
Little
it's always
differences.
a learning court. Oh yeah, Ethan Crumbly. The parents, remember, who got sent to prison because of this, the son used their concealed weapon in the school shooting. Yes. Okay. That was Michigan. Okay.
I didn't watch that one as closely, but I do remember that and remember kind of the debate around it.
Yep. And that one had cameras in the courtroom as well. So if this goes far, I think that it's not going to be like Delphi where we're shut out from a trial or from court hearings and stuff. So that's good.
Yeah.
In fact,
goodness.
I feel like so far the prosecutors given us a lot of information in this crime, but because they're able to like give the public that information and charge them the way that they have been so far. But it almost like we want that transparency a lot, you know what I mean? But then at the same time, when we hear some of the details, it's like, oh my, like the court's reaction to the what the district or what the prosecutor was saying, like they were just jumping out of their seat with just like shock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's crazy because the police were very tight-lipped, and then the prosecutor was like, "No," and gave more.
Yeah. Well, okay. So tomorrow at noon, you'll be covering this case, Rebecca Park, and digging more into the interviews.
Yeah, the last interview is Courtney, which is just a few days before she was found. And because, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, they all went and searched together. And it was right after Kimberly went on and said that she was threatened by Courtney not to cooperate. And if she said anything, she'd go down for this. And so Courtney responds in a pretty vicious way. And that is by, like I was saying, Kimberly keeps mentioning the trails. And, I don't know, because they're like, but you said that she bought her sister a bus ticket. So why would she, why do you want to go search the trails if she got on a bus? And she's like, why would Kimberly keep mentioning the trails? So,
yeah, she's just pointing everyone in that direction at that time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's real twisted. So she's gonna hopefully have a wake-up call very, very soon if it hasn't already happened right now while she's sitting behind bars. So I'll be moderating your chat if I'm able to stop in. I'm sure I will be I'll probably be hanging out with the kids on a Sunday afternoon. So join us on Alex Erickson's channel tomorrow, guys, and hit that like button. Subscribe to both of us. You can click on the @Alex Erickson right in the title of this stream, actually. Like right in the title, Alex Erickson 11. And I appreciate all the mods and everyone hanging out, and for you joining me. I really, really, really appreciate your coverage and us just kind of getting to the bottom of this injustice, whatever that looks like. I have faith that it will prevail in this case for sure.
Yeah, and thank you so much for even like bringing it to my, like making me aware of it, and for all your videos. I love your videos. And what are you covering tomorrow?
Tomorrow night is our weekly Chris Watts.
Oh yeah,
Live.
Watts. That's
But
right. I forget, it's
specifically,
Sundays.
I'm enhancing the FBI interview from the park where they have them hidden mic, and it's like an atrocious quality of audio. I'm trying my
Yeah.
best to enhance it and pick it apart that way. And
Oh,
then
awesome.
hopefully
Okay.
once I do the whole hour-long interview bit by bit, I can put it all together and put it out as like a newly like mastered.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah. I
And
bet
that's
you'll
an
be able to
important
make it sound
interview
a lot
too.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It already does, but it's still some of it you just can't clean up. Like I don't know what they were doing that day, but I
Right.
don't know. But anyways, thank you again.
Thank you
I'll
for
see you
having me.
tomorrow night, and I'll see everybody hopefully
Hi,
tomorrow night
guys.
here and in Alex's chat. I know you guys will be there too. And yeah, good night, everybody.